Good afternoon, everyone. So we'll wait for a little bit for a few people to get join in, and it's a beautiful sunny afternoon in Dorking. I hope you've got your braais lit. I've been working on the poiky for a couple of hours already now. So hi Freddie, hi Niels. So I thought it was going to be a little bit ambitious for me to do all the cooking by myself, taste through the wines with the winemakers, and also drink it all at the same time. So I've roped in a fantastic friend that I lived with for a year whilst playing rugby and coaching rugby in Cape Town back in 2005. So Sean is my braai master for this afternoon. And so how's it, Sean?
How's it going?
So you might not be able to hear Sean because we're outside. I thought I'd use a microphone so you don't hear any background noise, etc. So it might look like I am being incredibly lazy and sitting down, but I've got a microphone tied to me. So I'm going to be sitting here tasting the wines with the winemakers, and Sean has got some epic food for us lined up. So as I said, we've been working on the poiky for the last 3 hours already. It's got the last layer to go in about 15 minutes or so, then last hour, and we'll have that around 5:15 with David's pepper pot. I thought doing a poiky with a pepper pot, I thought that was really fitting. So let me run through the wines quickly that we're going to be tasting throughout the afternoon. First up, we've got the Saboteur white blend from Luddite. Not only is it a fantastically fresh, vibrant white blend, white blends are incredibly hot at the moment in South Africa, but it also gives me this opportunity to use my Chems bottle opener that I found this horn on a walk in the Karoo with Bob, a friend of Sean's, and Emil. And so Emil is the winemaker at Hamilton Russell, went to school with Sean and Bob, so all ties in fantastic nicely. So before we get started, let's pour ourselves a glass of the Saboteur white blend. So the other wines that we're going to be tasting, we will be tasting the Hamilton Russell Pinot Noir 2019 with winemaker Emil Ross. We will also be tasting the Tin Mine Red blend from Zevenwacht. This is a Rhone style red blend from Stellenbosch. We're also tasting the pepper pot, nice ode to the poiky here on the label. So pepper pot from David Finlayson of Edgbaston, also a Rhone blend. We then have the Cape Chamonix Troika, the first of the two Bordeaux blends, and we'll be tasting that through with Neil Brewer. And then we have, last but not least, the Takara Director's Reserve 2016, which we'll be tasting through with, I think, a lot of the team from Takara. And Carl was the first one who said, what do you want to cook? And he will be cooking Braai rookies at the end with the Director's Reserve Red. So what are we cooking? So with the, although the white blend is fantastic with fish, I think it goes even better with something that's done on the braai. Bit of smokiness, lots of skin contact Chenin in here. So we'll be doing some Madagascar king prawns with that. We've then of course got classic boerewors roll with the Hamilton Russell Pinot Noir, and there's some funny stories about what we were going to match with that with Emil a bit later on. We've also then got some lamb choppies with the Tin Mine from Zevenwacht, and then with the poiky, hopefully we've timed the poiky right such that we can have the pepper pot with the poiky at around 5:15. Then with the Troika, we've got some epic T-bone, sirloin on the bone steaks from the Dorking Butchery. They've got some fantastic big grass-fed fat on them. And then braai brookies and roaster cooks at 5:30 with Takara Director's Reserve Red. So I've made some sourdough roaster cooks, which I'm pretty excited about. So we'll get onto them in a bit. So if Niels and Penny are there from Luddite, it'd be great to see you. Sean, oh, he's gone. I was going to pour Sean a glass of wine, but he's already gone. So let's have our first taste. Here you go, bro. There we go. Cheers, everyone. Cheers, everyone, and happy Great British Braai Off. As we've been doing these tastings over the last few weeks, I think we're in week 10 now, which is pretty exciting. As I said before, I do this as a bit of a habit, but it really opens up. It really opens up the aromas, shows the wine at its full best. So, if you're tasting at home, please write in the comments. Again, we've been saying over the last few weeks, if you don't know what you're smelling, have a look down into the fruit section of your emojis. Pop apples or peaches, and it's really interesting way to trigger your memory into what you can taste along. It's really hard because I'm sitting quite far away from the camera this afternoon to read the comments. So if you do have a question, please pop it into the question and answer section, which is the little question mark with the cards at the bottom, because it'd be much easier for me to answer them from here rather than read the comments as they come in. So I believe Niels and Penny from Luddite, the Saboteur, who make the Saboteur, are cooking a whole snook whilst we taste through. But whilst we wait for them, let's all have a taste. Oh. Well, let's bring them in. They are here. So why this wine I think is perfect for a Braai. It's got some fantastic rich texture, as well as being that fresh, vibrant acidity of Chenin Blanc. Also with that little added Niels.
Hello everybody, welcome to the last of the sun rays from Bot River at Luddite Wines. If you just want to tilt down a bit. So there we got 2 snook on the Braai, and we're just going to baste it quickly with which is very traditional from South Africa, apricot and butter. Just stirring that up. So we'll put that on, and then I'll talk about the wine. Let's get this on. So lots of butter, lots of apricot, and the beauty with that is that snook is inherently quite salty. For the British viewers, the snook is probably comparable to maybe barracuda. It is quite a salty fish, so the sweetness of the apricot obviously gives it a lovely counterbalance, and that'll also work beautifully with the Saboteur white. And it just gives that lovely richness to the dish as well. Apricot jam obviously is quite traditional in South Africa. We're actually using some Luddite apricot jam from our own trees. So all in all, besides not having physically caught the snook, very much a homegrown meal. Snook is very much a traditional Western Cape dish, and certainly something in summer to put on the braai, which is lovely. So I'm just going to finish basting this. I feel like I'm in a cooking.
So Niels, I think we've got apricot jam in at least 3 of our recipes this afternoon. So we're obviously in good company. And talking of apricots, I think just talking about the complexity of the Saboteur white blend is the apricot. You can almost get an added bit of apricot from the Viognier, which really helps balance out the vibrant acidity of the Chenin.
Indeed. A squeeze of lemon, always important with a bit of fish. We've got a lemon tree right next to the braai area, so very handy. And we'll go and put that on. One little secret to make sure you always cook skin down, and put some shake and bake or spray and cook or whatever on the grid, so the skin doesn't get stuck. So you just cook it all the time. Seven Chenin, 14 Viognier, the chunk of Viognier we've had in a while, and then 9 Sauvignon Blanc. So you're getting this lovely fullness from the Chenin Blanc. You're getting that apricot and peach that you mentioned from the Viognier, and then the freshness from the Sauvignon Blanc, that 9% Sauvignon Blanc. The beauty with this wine is it was fermented on skins, and you've got this lovely texture and structure, and that really makes it go well with food. Nice and chilled. You can obviously have it on its own, but when it's with a meal, it's got that structure and balance to go with it. So yeah, I enjoy it.
I think it's the
aging
perfect.
beautifully.
Cheers, man, and you. So it's a little bit tricky to hear, but I think it's the perfect fish on a Braai wine because you need that texture and richness to match with the smoky flavors of a Braai, rather than just having if you were doing it a boiled or grilled fish, you might not have it as you might want something a bit lighter.
Yeah, so our fire's a bit hot at the moment, so I thought that was the trickiest thing, was getting the fire right at exactly 5:15. But it's been great fun. Just tilt it up a bit.
No,
so those are the lovely Hohuk Mountains behind us, and as you can see, just coming into sunset now. Hopefully there's a few people joining this that have been here and sat in this very self-same Braai area, which has always been a source of lots of entertainment and lots of good wines.
So when you first made the first vintage of the Saboteur, was it? I remember it being even more textural than the current vintages. What sort of led to the movement back to this? I think you found the perfect harmony now. Is that what you were looking for? The evolution over the vintages?
Yeah, it's because every year speaks for itself. So the blend does change every year, and we ferment and age all the components differently. It gets aged in barrel and with batonnage. So we don't really know what's going to be the final blend until sort of a month before bottling. Then we sit down and we agonize over what's going to fit best and how it's going to fit beautifully with the Chenin component. Obviously, the Chenin component is always going to be the biggest part. And then just seeing how that counterbalance of the Voynier, which gives the richness, and how much Sauvignon Blanc that we need, that freshness and acidity comes through. And I think that really, really works nicely every year. So the blend does change, but it's been a lovely journey from that perspective. So what we have found is these wines are aging really, really well, even though they've got very little sulfur. I like those Madagascan prawns. Make us quite jealous.
Yeah, so Sean has come up with the goods, and I think I quite likes being able to sit here and be served all afternoon. I wasn't expecting. I was hoping to cook myself, but with the microphone, it's just been a bit of a nightmare.
No, exactly. Well, I think it's. I hope a lot of people have joined in. There's the village of Selborne. I've tried to convince the whole village to Braai at the same time, and hopefully they're doing that. But yeah, the main thing is when you're cooking any fish, obviously, is to make sure that you don't dry it out. So you just keep basting. I think our fire is a bit hot, but anyway, we'll see how that pans out.
South African Braai, because all you have to do is do the fish.
Penny's chirping me in the background at a good South African Braai. The men do absolutely FA. They just cook the meat and then they say, "Did you enjoy your night off, dear?" But they do everything else, of course. So,
of course, yeah. Well, Penny, have you made any sides? Are we going to see Penny's sides for this evening?
Penny's side.
Yes, Penny's side.
Penny's on his side. Hello.
Hi, Penny. Everyone, this is Penny.
Come on vacation now. Look 3'2".
3'2". So we've done patat, sweet potato in the oven, and roasted beetroot, beetroot salad. And because we had our son's 21st this weekend, it's keeping it quite low key. So, and hopefully tonight we're going to hear that we can sell booze again from tomorrow.
I hear it's 7 o'clock, so we'll have you done all by 7 o'clock, and then wish everyone luck.
You'll hear us shouting and screaming all the way in Dorking if this
probably from here. Yeah, exactly. Either way, whether it's good or bad news, I'm sure.
Yeah, so it's just another it's a normal Braai. Neil says.
So I've got so Sean's cooked my king prawns with a bit of butter, garlic, parsley, and I think it goes so fantastically well with the richness of the Saboteur white. It's
But I do find that's why I like, because I always, when I make the apricot jam, normally use a 1-to-1 ratio on jam, but I normally use 700 grams of sugar to a kilogram fruit, so it's quite tart. So it also comes through the richness of the wine, which is
I mean, the Viognier and the apricot. I mean, it would probably also even go quite well with the Boerewors roll and Mrs. Balls as well, wouldn't it? It's got enough richness to it.
If you saw the kids this morning, the Saboteur White, I think was going well with their bacon and eggs as well. So, 21st birthday. So.
It's very versatile as wine goes, isn't it?
Yeah. And I do like my bunk, which he didn't want to do. Is definitely. And now we're all going to smell a fish.
How's that snook smoke?
Real. So obviously, when you turn it over, all the batter and the butter falls in the fire.
There's no batter.
Not batter. The basting and the apricot jam falls in the fire, so that makes it quite exciting. And literally, we're just going to brown up the underside, the flesh side, and then there's one very important trick which I've learned. And the one nice thing about going to Elsenburg Agricultural College with a whole lot of Afrikaners is that they know how to braai snook. So you learn firsthand how to do it properly. And the one big thing is to always make sure you have a tray handy, so that when you try and get the fish off the grid, it works very, very easily.
The flaky bits.
Yeah.
I'll show you how that's going to go just now.
Hi, Paul. I see Paul Calvy's joined us. Hi, Paul. But I'll quickly show you. So what we did the whole of the first weeks of lockdown. See if I can get it to show.
Oh, it's cutting out a little. I hope everyone's tucking in. For those of you taste along the Saboteur at home, it'd be great to hear what you think.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
That's better.
So we were trying to show you. So in the Braai area is the first 5 weeks. 5 weeks of lockdown. If you can just see behind. We put all the wine.
That's some serious. Nice to have that in your cellar. If you're not allowed to go out and buy alcohol, then it's an essential.
Our son has been bringing up blind tasting wines, and we've got a bit wiser as it's carried on. He obviously has no preconceptions, so that's quite nice. He comes up with a different wine all the time, does a bit of research, and we try and guess what it is. So it's been a bit educational as well. But all around, very thankful that we live on a farm and we have the space to move around in. And obviously we have wine to drink. That makes a big difference. So,
excellent. Very good. So what else would you, if you weren't braaiing, what else would you pair with the Saboteur White? Maybe a Boerewors or something like this.
Yeah, we do quite a lot of Thai cooking. He wants to got stuck.
So
now we're in with the
now you free up the fish. So let's go a bit high. There we go. Okay. So now you've freed up the fish, but the problem is, how do you get it back on the skin side? So you take a big tray, put it on the top of the grid, close the grid again, turn it over.
I've done this before.
Voila.
Yes.
So there we go. We've got 2 beautifully bright snook, and we're going to enjoy those just now.
Yeah, we do a lot of
Thai
Thai
look
cooking.
unbelievable.
They are yummy. He does.
Well done.
For a Dutchman, he's not bad. A Hollander. I do a lot of
No, I think fitting at cooking a snook and tasting along in the space of 15 minutes is pretty impressive. But thank you very much.
We do it. We didn't go.
So what?
Have we done 15 minutes already?
No. Well, I think just under 15 minutes. Yeah. But we should.
So we've got the whole family.
I want you to taste along. Evening. How are we doing?
Good.
Excellent.
Yeah. So we've. Other than cooking wise, I think we serve.
So a couple of people in the UK just saying very jealous of the snook. Probably, I imagine, South Africans. This is a great question from Freddie. Niels, Penny, why did you put a crown cap on the still wine? I love this story.
So I've never been a fan of screw cap. I think screw cap just looks cheap and nasty, and it just damages too easily. And I just think when you call a wine Saboteur, you can obviously do what you like, but it is the same one they use for closing champagne and maturing it on the lees before degorging. So it's bulletproof. It's been tested for 100 years and works like a charm. And yeah, we don't have any drama with it.
Is it good enough for champagne?
So all good.
Yeah, and also when you're packing screw caps, you can often put the bottom of the bottle. It dinks the top of the screw cap and breaks the seal. Whereas these are pretty bulletproof, aren't they? They're thick.
Yeah, it's pretty strong cap. Go wrong, so it makes a big difference.
So yeah, it's looks better and it's probably a better seal at the same time. Is a summary.
Yeah, indeed. And as I say, if you call a wine Saboteur, you can do whatever you like. And it's aging beautifully. I mean, this has got almost no sulfur in it, so it's holding up and it's really cool. And it'll be interesting to see, 10 years from now whether it's still holding up. So, and I think with that skin contact and that texture, it should hold up really well. And with the natural acidity coming from the Sauvignon Blanc, that'll also certainly help. So.
And I love the way that the oak just ties everything together and like pulls it and focuses it all on your palate. Does really well.
And so we were just trying to get.
Have you tried it with your snook yet?
We're going to eat it inside because we've got an imminent, hopefully some promised rain.
Okay, mate.
Northwest of Maine, and we're going to go and eat that around the dining room table because it's not very pleasant outside anymore. But the weather just as well, just long enough to do this braai with you guys, which is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, have a lot of fun. We'll obviously watch the other guys from inside.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Thanks so much, Niels. Speak soon.
Well done. Yeah, and we'll post the picture of the whole meal on your Instagram, so you'll be able to see.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. We're getting there. Sean is working incredibly. I'm actually going to take us over to go and have a look at the Braai quickly because.
Well done.
Here we go. Sean, say hi.
Sean, well done. I'm glad you found somebody who can braai.
Lamb chops on the go. Yeah, exactly. So we've got the Braai on the go, lamb chops, and then over here we have the poiki ready to go.
Open this up.
No, we never open the poiki. So we're nearly there.
I've gone into the house without taking my wine glass. It's a disaster. Anyway, lovely.
Great stuff.
Enjoy the rest of the time with all the other winemakers, and we'll certainly be watching from the outside. And well done. Great initiative.
Cheers. Bye. Excellent. So that was a bit tricky. I don't think I've got my microphone tangled. It was definitely a better idea for me to just sit down and let Sean bring me food as we go through the afternoon. But so everyone, that was the Saboteur white blend. I think, so in summary, when you're having fish or white meat on the braai, it's really, really good to have a white, vibrant wine. It's got a lot of freshness, but actually you really want something with a lot of texture, minerality at the same time. I think the Saboteur has this in spades with that 6 weeks, 6 to 18 days skin contact with the Chenin, and then the 6 months in French oak, which really ties everything together, brings in together all the fruit, adds a lovely richness and texture, and for me it works really, really well with the Madagascan king prawn. So luckily there's a great fishmonger near us called Cranley Fish who managed to sort us out with these prawns. So next up we'll be going to see Emil at Hamilton Russell. So Emil and I first met, and actually Emil is a great school friend of Sean's, ties in really nicely. And the first time Emil and I met was in Burgundy, which is such a coincidence. Now he's making probably some of South Africa's top Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And we had a fantastic evening with a chap who lectures at the Dijon Business School called Benoit. And we're there. I had met Benoit on my diploma course in the UK, and he said, next time you're in Burgundy, you must come and stay. We'll taste a lot of wine together.
And I didn't know this chap. I'd not met him really many times. And I said to Sean, I said to Email, where we're going, I know this guy. We're going to stay with Benoit. And they said, are you sure? It's a bit odd going to stay with someone we don't know. But I said, we rolled the dice and we had this evening, which was both bizarre and fantastic all at the same time. We only ate potatoes and Comte, and we only drank Jura wine, and then we had an aged blind sardine tasting, and every wine that was served was blind, and then we had an aged cigar tasting at the end. It was incredibly bizarre. So I was going to pair Emil's Hamilton Russell Pinot Noir with some aged sardines from vintage 2010, but then I thought we're actually having a Braai here. We're going to have Boerewors at some point. So Eames, if you're about, just request to join. It'd be great to see you. So anyone at home, you've got any questions? It's really hard for me, unfortunately, outside to read the comments. So if you've got any questions, please just pop them into the Q&A bit at the bottom with the question marks. But I hope or tell us what you're braaiing. Even if you're commenting, I'd love to see or hear what you're braaiing at home, what you found went well with the Saboteur, or if you've got what other wines you're drinking. It'd be great to hear. Of course, this weekend is all about getting behind South African wine. The next wine we're going to taste is just another reason for us to get behind South Africa. They haven't had a good time of it at all over the last 3 years. We've had drought, they've had forest, they've had bushfires, and now this year, this lockdown has meant they're not being able to sell almost at all. So the 2019 Hamilton Russell Pinot Noir, the funny story is that Benoit, the chap from Burgundy, lived, who we went to stay with, was in the tasting room at Hamilton Russell whilst Emil was being informed that the edge of the farm was on fire, and Emil was about to go and spend some time with Benoit, where Emil and I first met. And in 2019, as the forest fires were ploughing through the Himalayas Valley, Emil couldn't spend time with Benoit because he had to go and look after the fires. Emil, I can see you're here, so if you just request to join, it would be great, and then we can chat through your wines while we're here. See what you're braaiing as well. I know he's got oysters, which is I thought oysters not necessarily the classic Braai dish. Eames, if you scroll back up to the top of the comments, you'll find the request to join logo somewhere in the comments. Oh, he can't join, but I'm sure he'll sort it out at some point. So because we have got two wines, well, because the Hamilton Russell Pinot Noir that we were going to taste is because their farm was completely decimated by smoke taint, which is a really terrible thing to happen to wine. It tastes like the wine has been over oaked, really charred before you. Ah, here we go. He's in. He'll be able to tell us more about it. Now I can't press the right button. Oh, sorry, Mike, you can see the building work. Sorry. Classic. I knew I'd do that at some point. Eames, we're in. So, Eames, I actually, I've actually got a bottle of the Hamilton Russell Chardonnay 2018 because that is 100% estate fruit from the Hamilton Russell vineyards. As the 2019 Hamilton Russell Pinot Noir was, because of the smoke taint, the farmers rallied together in the Himalaya Valley to sell fruit to the Hamilton Russell family. So I've also got the, before Emil's joining, also got the 2018 Hamilton Russell Chardonnay that we can try along. If anyone's tasting along Hamilton Russell Chardonnay at home, please let us know. I know it wasn't part of the mixed case for the Braai, but this would be another fantastic wine to go with seafood or fish. Sorry, everyone, I'm just trying to bring Eames in. Another fantastic wine that would go with says he's unable to join. Sorry, Eames. We'll just have to taste your wine. You're just going to have to write in the comments what we should be tasting and any stories, what you're drinking. Sean, would you like Sean, the hard work? Would you like some? That'd be excellent, thank you. No worries. So, Hamilton Russell Chardonnay. And it's Chardonnays like this that I absolutely love. It's the oak that they use is obviously very lightly toasted, or perhaps not even toasted at all. It's got this fantastic macadamia nut, almost cashew white nut aroma that just has a fantastic texture with that yellow apple, almost white flowers from the Chardonnay. But the richness, it's still got a fantastic vibrance of acidity, but the richness of the, if you can imagine, very fine cashed up macadamia nuts. It's exactly that style of that style of Chardonnay, and it's always a shame to compare things to other things because Himalayas Valley is a fantastic place in South Africa to grow high quality Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. But if we were really going there, then this is a very Burgundian style Chardonnay. Let's see, they've got a question. I wonder if Eames can join. So Pinot, actually, Freddie's just said, is Pinot Noir a versatile grape variety? Not particularly. Pinot Noir is actually a very difficult grape to grow. It's got very, very thin skin, so it's very, very susceptible to all the different types of mold and mildew, and so the berries can be damaged very, very easily. Also, if the berries get damaged, it can start to oxidize and therefore start turning to vinegar and start fermenting in the vineyard, which is of course not what you want. So let's move on to the Hamilton Russell Pinot Noir 2019. So as I said, in 2019, the whole estate was decimated by fire. There's some horrendous photos of farmhouses, vines, shrubbery, everything just decimated by a ravaging forest fire. So smoke taint was something that they wanted to avoid at all costs. So Emil, maybe try allowing permissions on your camera for Instagram. That might be the trick, but it doesn't matter. We can chat away without you. You're not missed. No, you are missed. You are missed. So Hamilton Russell ended up buying some fruit from neighbouring farms to allow them to make a wine that they were happy to release, because releasing a wine that had smoke taint is not something they were interested in whatsoever. Don't want to damage the hard work that they put in to build that name for quality. So on the nose, it's got this fantastic dark cherry, and I love the clove spice that comes from the oak. I wish Emil was here to tell us more about the oaking influence, but I think they probably use quite light to medium toast Francois Frere barrels, knowing Emil. But please correct me if I'm wrong. I just spoke to Emil and he's really struggling with technology, but he's trying. So Emil is struggling with technology, which is unsurprising. It's a real shame because the whole story tied in so nicely. But never mind. We'll chat to Emil another day. We'll get him on one time. So if you're tasting along at home, for me, I get dark cherry, bit of cocoa, bit of vanilla. The oak use here is just so elegant that it's perfectly matched with the fruit influence and would be perfect for something like a Boerewors roll. Sean, how are we getting on with the Boerewors rolls? So Boerewors roll really takes me back to, I did it, I might have said at the beginning, went to play rugby, coach rugby in a small prep school in the southern suburbs of Cape Town in 2005. So South Africa is, of course, very close to my heart. And it's where I met Sean, was living with Sean in the dormitory in the boarding house. And Boerewors roll is what we would go for every Saturday morning coaching rugby. It would be we probably had a few too many wines the night before, and that Boerewors roll with sweet Mrs. Balls in that sweet bread bun was exactly what one needed.
There you go.
And this is, look at that, on cue. Sean, thank you
Very good.
much. Sean will hate the fact that he is waiting on me more than anything, and that is probably the best thing that. No, it wasn't Bishop's. It was Western Province Prep School, guys. Yeah. So I think the rich cherry nature of this Pinot Noir would go fantastically with a Boerewors roll, and you can't have a Boerewors roll really without having Mrs. Balls. It's just quintessentially South African. Sean has outdone himself here. Someone once said of Sean cooking Boerewors that you could only identify it by its dental records. Nick Rosley, if you're watching. But I think here he is really astounded at himself. It's still moist in the middle, and it goes really, really well. And the acidity of Pinot Noir and the acidity of Mrs. Balls and the sweetness of Mrs. Balls does really well to match with the dark cherry and acidity of Pinot Noir. It might numb it a little bit. So that's often the case if you're eating sweet foods with wines that are quite acidic, that might taste the wine before and it tastes quite vibrant and juicy and sweet. Then you taste it after tasting Mrs. Balls, and actually it becomes a little bit more savoury, and that it's great because it cuts through the fattiness of the Boerewors. I hope someone else is cooking Boerewors at home, not necessarily with this wine, but with perhaps another wine. Sean, do you have some Pinot Noir? The last layer of vegetables is going in the poiky, everyone. How long do we reckon we're out on the poiky, Sean? 30 minutes or so. 30 minutes or so, perfect. Sorry, I'm pleasing out the napkin. Sorry, everyone. So the Hamilton Russell Pinot Noir, for me, it's a fantastically balanced, fruit-driven, excellently savoury. The clove spice and use of oak is just so perfectly matched with the fruit. You can't. A lot of producers might throw oak at a wine to sort of bolster it and make it bigger, but actually you can't do that. You need the level of fruit to match to the level of oak that you want to put in. You can't bolster a wine by adding oak. You need to balance a wine by making oak. Oak is there to corset the fruit and make it linear and concentrate the flavour. It's not there to be a substitute for fruit quality. And this is what Hamilton Russell do so well here. Sean, are you sure you don't want some Pinot? Yeah. I'd love to hear what you guys think of the Pinot Noir at home if you're tasting. Trying Mrs. Balls with our saucisson and this relish wine. Perfect. That is...
I think worth saying here is that being in London, just outside, and having some of the best Boerewors I've ever tasted, well done to the Dorking guys.
Yeah, the Dorking Butchery have done well. They are... I mean, I probably talk about them too much on every single Instagram I do because they really are my go-to for me. It's fantastic. Emil, that's okay. Don't worry. We won't hold it against you for very long. Maybe a few years. So if you're tasting along at home, it'd be great to hear what you think. And if not, we should move on to Hagen's wine in a minute. So Leslie, how does the Himalayas differ from Stellenbosch? Well, it's actually a completely different climate completely. So Stellenbosch is very, very warm. There are lots of subclimates of Stellenbosch, so perhaps Stellenbosch shouldn't be grouped. There's a lot of talk about Stellenbosch being grouped into sort of different subsections because it varies quite a lot. So many different aspects, so many different terroirs, different heights above sea level, etc. But Himalayas also the same. It's a lot cooler. It's much more oceanic in terms maritime. Such it's cool. Got a lot of cooling effects from the cool Atlantic Ocean. A little bit higher above sea level. Hence the grape varieties planted there being Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, some of the later ripening grape varieties that need that coolness. Earlier ripening grape varieties needing coolness. Whereas in Stellenbosch you might have some of the like warmer, like we'll find for the next two wines, which will be Shiraz, Mourvedre, Grenache, Carignan, Tannat, etc. That need that extra bit of heat to ripen in Stellenbosch. I love the fact that Bob and Emil are having an argument in the comments, which makes me very happy. So for everyone watching, Bob, Emil and Sean, 3 best friends from Rondebosch. So let's move on to the next wine, because Emil couldn't join us. Here's the Zevenwacht Tin Mine Red blend. So we've got a Shiraz, Grenache, Mourvedre blend. So very, very famous blend. Well, 3 grape varieties that find their homeland in the Rhone Valley. Syrah, very, very northern Rhone, very northern Rhone-esque. Grenache and Mourvedre, a bit more southern Rhone. But we're starting to increase the weight of the wines here. So we're increasing the weight of the wine, and by weight I mean the palate and the body is increased. We're starting to move on to our more richer, darker meats. So we're moving on probably to some lamb chops. So we've been marinating some lamb chops. Actually, I say lamb, it's a lie. We have actually got some hogget chops. Hogget being that next step, bit older than lamb. I think we've got an 18-month animal. So we've got some Barnsley chops coming in from the Dorking Butchery just from down the road, and that's going to go perfectly with our Rhone blend. Also, will probably go fantastically well with the Pinot Noir and the next Rhone blend and Bordeaux blend. But we've decided to put it in here. I'm glad that I'm wearing this the Pete 1995 winner's cap this afternoon, because the sun is exactly in the wrong place had I not been wearing a cap. So I'm glad I wore this. So again, if you're tasting along at home, please put some comments in the comment section. Let us know what you're tasting. If you're drinking any other Rhone blends from South Africa, that would be great too. So Rhone blend is such a great barbecue wine. Shiraz adds a richness and depth of flavour. Grenache adds a vibrancy. Mourvedre again adds a bit more richness. And that richness is essential for something that has got a heavy smoke aroma, like that heavy Braai aroma. Again, we've had some fantastic Braai wood from Braai Wood UK that has imparted a really nice richness, aroma into the garden, let alone the food. So let's taste the Zevenwacht one. Again, and Hagen, if you're here, it'd be great to see. I think Hagen is braaiing indoors. Indoor braai is something I've aspired to ever since I went to South Africa for the first time. So we're going to redo our kitchen. I'm having an indoor braai, so I can stoke up the fire, get some Roy Crans on the braai inside. That's when you really know you've made it. So the thing about this, I love the Tin Mine. It's got a fantastic freshness to it. So although you get this rich dark fruit flavors from the Shiraz and the Mourvedre, I think that it's the Grenache that really lifts it and gives it a much more vibrant profile. It's not too heavy. It's the sort of wine that you want to be drinking even in the sun in the afternoon. Let's just see if Emil has tried to come in. Let's just see. I know, Hagen, we're meant to be coming to you, but if we could go back to Emil has requested to join, and it might be nice just to see him very quickly. No, I'm afraid, Eames, it's saying I can't let you in. So instead we'll go back to Hagen. Hopefully we've got Hagen Braai indoors with Tin Mine Red.
There we go.
Yes.
Cheers.
Hagen, how's it going? Cheers.
Good. Thanks yourself, Elliot.
Yeah, it's going well, thanks. Well, apart from Emil, he can't work technology, but let's not blame him. He's living in the third yeah, in the middle of nowhere.
It's part of the equator.
So, tell us a little bit about the tin mine. It's I love the fantastic. It's light, it's fresh, but it's also got a lot of flavour as well.
Yeah. So for me, I'm a big Rhone fan, and I think the tin mine is just a bit of a expression in that direction for us. Obviously, with a South African take on it, and you were mentioning just now kind of the different terroir aspects, and for Stellenbosch, we obviously on the end of the Braai Hills, so we quite far towards Cape Town side. So we actually on the cooler spectrum of the Stellenbosch region, and that's why the Shiraz for us does very well. Obviously bringing that darker fruit, but also nice spice and freshness to it, peppery tones. And then the Grenache, interestingly enough, we get from our second property in the Bunnock Valley, on the other side of Stellenbosch, which is also slightly cooler than Stellenbosch Central, and it's quite high up in the mountains. So that Grenache just adds super fruit concentration and vibrancy and freshness. And then the Mourvedre being around 15%, a little bit more savory. And I think those three components just bind or combine so well together in this wine. Nice medium body, beautiful fruit, kind of a red cranberry, very red fruit, bit of raspberry in the background, and then also some darker blackberry fruits. And then underpinning that, obviously nice peppery, spicy tannins. That I think goes so well with what you're doing on the lamb chop side.
Yeah, we're doing chops this side. What have you got your side?
I've actually got I went for a bit of a pork belly in the background. So a slow cooked pork belly. I think that obviously the more medium body, red fruit, lighter style goes well with pork as well. So nice versatile wine.
Yeah, perfect. So Sean's still working on the lamb chops.
No worries.
No, I think so. It's interesting that people were saying, "What's the difference between Himalayas and Stellenbosch?" And I think is there work in progress to subdivide Stellenbosch into separate different regions, especially the Braai Hills, of course, should be perhaps one of the first sub-regions of Stellenbosch.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think a lot of the Stellenbosch regions are already divided into different wards, like we have Helderberg, Simonsberg, Braai, and we actually sit with a Braai where our farm's situated. The one ward that we sit on is the Braai Hills, is more the eastern side of the Braai, and that's home to a lot of good Shiraz at the moment. There's some really fantastic producers, Reinecker, yeah, a handful of our neighbors, Jordan, fantastic wines are coming from there. And so definitely that subdividing and more specialization and focus is definitely coming into the region. And I think you'll see a lot more focus on that, promoting the awards in the Stellenbosch region.
Nice. Sean has smashed it out the park this time. We've got grilled asparagus and grilled broccoli, tender stem broccoli, and a fantastic Hogget Barnsley chop. I mean, it's so tempting. I don't think I'm going to be able to eat it at the same time as talking, but it's we've really excelled himself. I wish we could move it. Thanks, Sean.
Have a big bite.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Do you think that's acceptable? Yeah. Excuse me. Oh,
Magic.
this
I just think
I think Hogget is the way to go when you're braaiing. You need that like extra richness of flavour. It goes perfectly. I think the lightness and the coolness comes through on the tin mine. You can definitely tell that it's planted on the southwest facing slope?
Yeah, that's right. Southwest facing, so slightly cooler slopes where you get that spice coming through. And obviously, we also work with older oak, generally bigger barrels, so 500-litre barrels, trying to showcase the fruit a bit more instead of making a richer, heavier wood style.
And there'd be older barrels as well, not necessarily new barrels, just larger, older barrels, just add a bit of texture, bring everything together, let the great varieties come together as one.
That's right, perfect. I think we've got about 20% new oak on those 500-litre barrels in the blend, and then the rest is all quite old, even 4th, 5th, 6th barrels.
Excellent. So how long until your pork's ready? Are we going to see it, or is it...
I can zoom in there, but let's see.
Oh, yeah.
It's still got probably about another hour. It's a bit of a slow cook on the side.
No worries. So you need to find yourself a Sean, Hagen.
my backup crew is busy jumping around outside on the trampoline, so no help for me.
No, that's excellent. Thank you so much, Hagen. It's great to chat, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon.
Perfect. Thanks, Elliot. Cheers.
See you later, mate. Thank you. Bye.
Here we go.
So we're nearly halfway there. Well, we know we're going to be cut off at an hour. So we'll come back after the hour with David Finlayson. But in the meantime, Sean, are we ready to check on the poikie? What do you think?
5 minutes.
5 minutes Turkish. So let's have a little quick recap of the wines we've tasted this afternoon. First, we had the Saboteur white blend, which was perfect for your white fish, but it has this great texture, great minerality, and great sort of ripeness of fruit that is perfect for braai, anything braai that's sort of white and fishy. Sadly, if you try and work your stuff out, then like maybe you can come back at the end. But I was trying the Hamilton Russell Chardonnay, which is delicious. It's a fantastic macadamia nut, lots of ripe yellow apple, and then their Pinot Noir, sort of dark cherry, corseted by some excellent oak use there. Really, really intelligent use of oak. And then we had the Tin Mine Red, which has gone so well with this Hogget. Right, let's go and check on the Hogget. Ian, if you're here, I've got a bottle of the 2013 Chenin that we could open later. Right, I have one. We're going to check on the poikie. Sorry, excuse me, because the microphone might be a little bit dodgy. So Sean, let's. So we've had the poikie going for about 4 hours now. 4 hours now.
4 hours, yeah.
So 4 hours now.
There we go.
So this is the LK's pot bought from Agrimark in Stellenbosch, probably the best shop, maybe in the world. Let's see what's. Let's go.
So there we go. Slowly.
Oh, so we've still got that last layer of veg that needs a few, and probably another. Good. Yeah, we're good.
The secret of the poikie.
So I kind of want to stir it, but I'm tempted to touch it. But
never stir the poikie, Elliot.
But yeah, we've got some fantastic Braai here from Braai UK. Obviously cooking on the Kamado. The rooster cooks are good to go, and we've it's been a fantastic hour.
For those at home,
Oh yeah,
still going. We're making braai broodjies later, and so a braai broodjie is a toasted sandwich that looks something like this in the roaster. But if you still got time now, and we'll have them in probably half an hour or so. So if you are at the Braai and you haven't made them, they're really delicious. So
yeah. So I'll explain. Yeah. So basically, if you don't have if you haven't made a braai brookie yet and you have got a fire going, all you need to do is to butter both sides of a piece of bread, or just the outside of a piece of bread. Then you just need cheese, tomato, and onion. Yeah, the cheese, like a cheese toasty, but with the onion is so important. And then, so you have butter side down and butter side up. Stick it in the roaster, stick it on the fire, and it's like a cheese toasty. You want the cheese to melt, you want the onion to caramelize, and you just want the tomato to add that extra bit of moisture, and of course the bread to toast. Right. So I think we're just going to call that one a day because we're at the hour, and then we'll come back in 2 minutes, well, straight away actually, and then we'll see David Finlayson for the pepper pot. So see you back in 30 seconds or so.